Hello, my name is Father Charlie Bouchard, and I'm here to offer you a word of hope on the readings for Tuesday of the fourth week of Easter. As we read these readings today, they might sound a little familiar, and that's because part of the Gospel and the first reading are verbatim the same passages that we read last Sunday. But there's one unusual thing in this reading, a little phrase that you might not even have noticed, which appears in the second line of the Gospel. It says that the feast of the dedication was taking place in Jerusalem, and it was winter. Now that seems like an odd little detail, and it's curious that the gospel writer would have put it in there in the first place, and that then he would have left it. And so I wondered, well, what does that little detail mean? And I think it means perhaps that Jesus was saying to the people who were gathered there, I have already told you who I am, but you do not listen or you have not heard. In a sense, they were in the winter of their spiritual lives, that they were not warm to the word of the gospel, that they were resistant to it, and that they refused to believe Jesus when he told them who they were. And I think what this says to us is that all of us at different times in the various seasons of our spiritual lives may have times of winter, times that are not spiritually fruitful, times which some of the mystics referred to as the dark night of the soul, or maybe the cold night of the soul, to use the meteorological image that is used in the gospel. But it is a time of winter that comes across all of our lives periodically. And it is at those moments when we have to depend on the faith of other people, that if my own faith is weak or if it's challenged by events that happen in my life or disappointments or illness, it is then that we can align ourselves more closely with other believers and let their beliefs support us, at least for a time. So as we hear these readings today, let us be mindful of those great crowds that gathered to hear the gospel, some of whose hearts were warm, others which were perhaps cool or even in winter, that they relied on one another to hear the gospel and to make it their own. And let us accept the challenge to do exactly that, even if we are not in the summer of our spiritual lives right now, but experiencing a little bit of winter. And the Lord and the Lord's Spirit, the Spirit of the Lord, will definitely come, warm our hearts, and open us to this gospel message.